After the demise of Group C in 1992, a whole different class of sports car racing rose from its ashes. 2 years after the end of the World Sports Car Championship, Porsche Cup organiser Jürgen Barth and Patrick Peter and Stefan Rattel from the Venturi Cup formed the BPR Global GT Championship. What started out relatively small soon started to attract the attention of the big players, McLaren, Jaguar, Ferrari, Lotus and Porsche. But that last name got a little bit annoyed seeing their 993 GT2 Evo get decimated by the likes of the McLaren F1 and Ferrari F40. So to hit back, Porsche did what Porsche does best: exploit the rules. Like they had done in the past, Porsche completely dissected the rulebook, and as a result they discovered that the rulebook stated that in order to enter, any competitor needed to build a road-going version of the race car, but it didn't state a production number or a production time. So Porsche looked at that, said okay, 25 road cars will do, and then started designing a brand new GT car from scratch. But instead of taking a road car and turning it into a race car, Porsche started with the race car first, and they'd figure out how to sell it to the public later on. What BPR had allowed Porsche to do was create a ballistic missile in a field full of squirt guns. In essence, the 911 GT1 was nothing more than the front of a 993 welded to the chassis of one of their most ungodly creations, the 962. It was then also given an engine derived from that of the 962. With 2 Triple K turbochargers, it produced around 600 horsepower. The first car was completed in 1996, and Porsche, unsurprisingly, postponed the production of the road cars to the end of the year. Racing was their priority. The Porsche Works team entered 2 GT1s for their debut race, the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and much to nobody's surprise, Porsche took a 1-2 victory and 3 victories in the final 3 rounds of the GT Championship. In 1997, FIA took over, and the FIA GT Championship was created, and for the first time since the car's creation, a worthy challenger appeared, as Mercedes introduced the mighty CLK GTR. To counter the new competition and the new regulations, Porsche updated the 911 GT1 by introducing the Evo version. The car's appearance was considerably changed, now to resemble Porsche's new 996 road car. Le Mans was a bit of a debacle for Porsche that year though. Both Works GT1s failed to finish, and at other races, the naturally aspirated competition proved too fast. But more importantly, GT1 had started to run somewhat out of hand. Nobody really seemed to care about the homologation cars, and FIA was starting to catch on. So for 1998, the regulations were drastically changed, and the GT1 cars were labelled for what they really were: prototypes. But once again, Porsche had been given the nuclear launch codes. Because Porsche's engineers then went all out and created an updated version of the 911 GT1, setting out to create the car it should have been all along. Longer, lower, and with Porsche's first ever carbon monocoque, it became the version most people think of when they hear the name 911 GT1. But the competition had also stepped up. Not only had Mercedes now unleashed the unrelenting CLK LM, Toyota had also joined the party with their GT1. But once more, nothing could stop Porsche as Le Mans, as the 911 GT1 would claim Porsche's 16th Le Mans victory. For 1999, a V10 powered replacement was in the works, but that never saw the light of day, as Porsche shifted focus from Le Mans to the road, with the Cayenne becoming the centre of attention. It would be nearly 20 years before we would see Porsche back at the top level of Le Mans with the 919 hybrid. The Porsche 911 GT1 is another brilliant example of what happens when Porsche exploits the rules to the fullest extent, and as a result, the 911 GT1 will go down as one of the most iconic GT cars of all time, even though it really wasn't one.